Hey friends, welcome back to my channel for another What's for Dinner video. If this is your first time here, my name is Courtney and I put these videos out every single Sunday here on my channel. If you're wondering what to find in them, I also do grocery hauls on Tuesday where I list my weekly meal plan. So this week we did smoke some ribs and some pulled pork, and I used that all throughout the week to make a number of different meals. It was super delicious. I didn't get as many meals out of it as I thought I would, but that's okay because we loved what we had. It was fantastic. Before we jump into checking out the recipes, I did want to take a quick minute to let you guys know how much I appreciate you being here with me. I know I have not been, on these videos, the What's for Dinner videos. I've just been doing voiceovers. But this week I wanted to take a minute just to let you guys know how much I really appreciate you spending part of each of your week over here with me. It means a lot to me, and I would not be able to continue making videos and doing this channel if it wasn't for you guys being here with me every single week. It means so much that y'all are here and you're supporting and you're watching and liking and commenting. I love that so many of y'all come back every single week. I recognize so many of the names. I love getting to say hi to you guys. Thank you so much for all of that. I really, really want you guys to know from the bottom of my heart that I appreciate it so much. All right, let's see what we had for dinner.
All right, friends, we're gonna start this off by prepping our ribs. So I have 2 racks of pork ribs. These are baby back ribs, but you could do this method with any kind of ribs. So I started off by patting them dry. This time I'm not pulling the membrane off. I will pull that off right before I put some sauce on them and toss them back out for the last time. Trying a new method, and I think I liked it. So once I put a little bit of oil on the ribs, I rub it all over the sides, the top, the bottom, the whole bit. Then you're going to season them. I'm just using like a basic barbecue seasoning. This comes from Cooper's. It's a barbecue chain here in Texas. It's a really, really good barbecue chain, very popular. A lot of people would say it's the best. So I just picked up a spice seasoning there, but essentially it's just salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder. It's nothing too fancy. These are a pretty big, slab of meat, so you can go a little heavier than you think with your seasoning on ribs or on larger chunks of meat like this. They're not super thick, so I'm not going over the top, but I am, being very generous, as you can see, with the seasoning, making sure that they have a lot of flavor. So once I did that, we just went ahead and put them straight on the smoker, just like that. Then I went ahead and prepared our mop sauce. We're just going to spray these and the pork roast down with this. It's 1/3 or 1/3 of a part of water, 1/3 of it is apple juice, and 1/3 of it is Worcestershire sauce. That's it. You can make a cup of it, you can make a half a cup of it, you can make a gallon of it, just as long as it's mixed in thirds. And then I just put it into a spray bottle, just a cheapy little 97-cent spray bottle that I picked up at Walmart. And we just went out there and sprayed the ribs and sprayed the pork butt down pretty consistently. The ribs we did in a 3-2-1 method, so 3 hours just laying open on the rack, 2 hours wrapped in foil, and then 1 hour with barbecue sauce on top, just laying open on the rack. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of the barbecue sauce on top. I did it because we were trying this method and I wanted to see how it would work out. But for me, I think next time I would just skip the barbecue sauce. I like just ribs with a rub on them, and that makes me perfectly happy, and my husband too. In fact, our favorite ribs in Texas are served that way. But I know a lot of people like sauce, so that's the method if you use sauce as well. All right, on to the pork butt. This guy was like 5-ish pounds. So I went ahead and unwrapped it. If you have any extra massive chunks of fat on there, like the hard pieces of fat, go ahead and trim those off. This one actually looked really good, so I didn't have to really trim anything. I just opened it up, drained the liquid out, patted it dry, and now I'm rubbing it down with mustard. Mustard makes a really, really good binder for things like this because our seasoning is going to stick to it very well, and it doesn't taste like mustard once you're done cooking it. So it's a fantastic binder to get things to stick on there. So I'm just rubbing it top, bottom, front, sides, all around every square inch of this pork, rubbed with mustard, and then I'm generously sprinkling the same seasoning mix on top of this guy. So I do want to remember to let you guys know that I'm doing all this the night before. So this guy is prepped and ready to go, and he's going to hang out in my fridge overnight, which is actually perfect because it gives the spices and stuff on the outside time to like super adhere to it, soak in a little bit. Some of the sodium and the salt and some of the flavoring from all this kind of soaks deeper into the meat. It's almost like dry brining it kind of. So if you have time to do that, that is definitely what you want to do. You just want to give it time to rest a little bit. And then we got up nice and early the next morning, cranked the smoker up, and we kept it between 225 and 275. I like to give a wide range like that. Smokers are not an exact science. Even with an electric one like we have, it still jumps around depending on the temperature outside and things like that. But we smoked this guy for about 5 hours. We did spray it with that mop consistently at least once every hour. Then we brought it inside, and as you can see, it looks like that. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. It smelled incredible. Oh man, I was already just so ready to dive in, but we're not done yet. I wrapped it up really well in some heavy duty foil, so it's like a nice tight little package. I actually wrapped it one more layer after that. Put it back on the smoker for like 3 hours, then brought it inside and let it hang out just in an empty oven, turned off, nothing going on, just so it has time to rest for quite a few hours. And you can let these go for like up to 8 hours just hanging out in the oven, because they will retain so much heat in that foil that they'll just kind of keep themselves warm that whole time. I let it go for quite a few hours and I couldn't resist. I had to dive in. I had to check it out. I could smell it. I was ready for a taste test to see how we did. And let me tell you, it was incredible. So as you can see, it still has that beautiful color, lots of flavor. This thing was so tender and so juicy and amazing. We just shredded it, with a set of bear claws, just absolutely shredded it up. And it was absolutely delightful. This is probably the best smoked pork that we have made yet. And I just served this and the ribs with some potato salad, coleslaw, and baked beans. And of course, for the pulled pork, we do like tortillas on the side. So then I had all these leftovers and I needed to use them. And as I mentioned in my other video, I wanted to do some McRibs. Now, I've had the McRib once in my life. It was really heavy on the barbecue sauce, which is like not my favorite thing. So I already knew right off the bat I wanted to change that. So I started off by, instead of just putting some plain raw onions on here, we're going to fry some onions, some nice, beautiful, crispy onion strips. So right there, you saw me make some buttermilk. It was just milk with some Tabasco of your choice or hot sauce of your choice. I was using, I can't remember what that one's called, but it was a green one and it's really good. It's our favorite. We like it by the Tabasco brand better, but that Cholula is pretty good too. And then I put some soy or Worcestershire sauce in there, and that just kind of like will thicken the milk, kind of curdle it, like if you put lemon in there, because there's a lot of acid and stuff in that hot sauce. So it thickens up like buttermilk. And then you just throw in your sliced onions. I did them fairly thin. And then I'm just separating them right there, just showing you pull them all apart, because you don't want big clumps. You want them to be separated into like their individual onion layers. And then we want them to all just kind of hang out in that buttermilk mix for a little while, soak it up, get a little extra flavor, all that kind of stuff. Now, it is important that you give these plenty of time to rest, like an hour or so, to really soak in this buttermilk marinade. It's going to make them so much better that way. And then once they've had that time, then we're going to go ahead and start breading them. So I'm keeping it super simple. I think that the onions have a lot of flavor on their own. And then I added the Worcestershire sauce and the hot sauce to the milk, and that has a lot of flavor too. So I'm just going to go with about a cup of flour and about a teaspoon of salt. And that's going to be it for my breading. So once I've got that all mixed together, I'm going to go ahead and drain some onions. I just pulled them out and kind of like shook them off to get most of the moisture off. And then we're going to throw them in here. Again, make sure that each of the little onion strings is getting separated so that each one of them gets individually coated in that flour so that you have beautiful little onion strings. I've heard them called all kinds of different things. Onion strings, onion laces, onion strips, whatever you want to call them. We just want to make sure that each one of them is its own little string and it's not stuck to every other one. And it is a little complicated. I mean, they really do want to like really cling on to each other. Every once in a while you'll have some that just do. But for the most part, let's try to get them as separated as we can. You can see I'm kind of tossing them around there and doing my best to make sure that they are not just one giant clump. And then, of course, we'll do the same thing when it comes time to fry them. We want to make sure when we put them in the oil, we're doing our best to kind of separate them once they're in there, so that you get beautiful crispy little strips. I did heat my oil up over there on my stove. I had it going for a couple of minutes before I came over to fry. And then I just carefully started adding them in. You can see I'm trying to do just one at a time. Again, just keeping them separated. And because they're so thin, they don't take very long to get all crispy and beautiful and delicious. Just a few minutes, like 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes, depending on how hot your oil is. And they're pretty much good to go. This is really quick and really simple. I actually used to make these a long time ago, and I served them with a number of different things. My family always really enjoyed them. I don't know why I stopped making them. I guess because I really haven't fried much stuff over the last few years. Frying is a lot of work, and having to find some place to dispose of the oil is also a lot of work. I typically will just put mine in like a zip top baggie and throw it away later. I also try to shallow pan fry most things, so I'm using the least amount of oil that I actually have to have. It's pretty rare that I actually deep fry things just because that takes so much more oil and it's just hard to dispose of. So as you can see, I'm just kind of keeping an eye on them in there after they fried for a few minutes. That's what they look like. You can see they've turned colors. It's nothing drastic, but they're a nice golden color now, and that's what you're looking for. A nice beautiful golden color. Then I'm just going to kind of fish them out with my little spider type spoon thing there, slotted spoon. I don't know, you need a spider that kind of looks like a spider, but it's not a spider. Anyway, just draining them out, trying to get most of the oil off. And if you are, you know, really into it, you can add some more salt once you pull them out. I thought mine are okay, but I'm also putting mine on a sandwich, so I didn't need them to carry a whole ton of flavor. And I just fried up that whole onion. I didn't use a whole onion for sandwiches. We snacked on some of them too. I was snacking on them as I was cooking them. They were really good. If you like onion rings, you're going to love these because I think they're even better than onion rings. But there they are. They've got some color. They're crispy. They're delicious. So let's make our McRib, shall we? So I've just got a bun, and I'm adding a little bit of barbecue sauce to the bun, and then I pulled the rib meat off of the bone. I just kind of like shredded it up with my hands and added it to the bread. Those are some homemade pickles. I will try to share a recipe for those soon. They're super easy to make. Then I topped it with those crispy onions, and there is my McRib butter. All right, so let's make some enchiladas. I've actually had this creamy poblano sauce in my brain for quite a few months, and I keep meaning to make it for other stuff, and I haven't. So we're making it this week, and it was so phenomenal. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Anyway, I took a couple of limes, sliced them in half, threw a couple of poblano peppers and a bundle of green onions, and threw them on a cookie sheet with a little bit of oil, popped it in the oven at 400 degrees for like 40-ish minutes, kept an eye on them, didn't want them to burn, but wanted them to cook, you know? So then when everything came out, I also had some garlic roasting in there. I forgot to mention that. I am roasting garlic as well. But when everything came out, I just kind of put it in my food processor. I did remove the skin and the stem and the seeds from the peppers because that skin, you don't have to remove it. I just did. It came off so easily. There's no reason not to. But I like to remove the pepper seeds because they don't always blend up and they kind of get hard. So I just didn't want that texture in my sauce. And of course the stem, just because it's super hard. And I juiced my limes, but I did, you saw I was carefully doing it over my hand because we don't want the seeds in here. Roasted lime juice, by the way, amazing. So then there's my garlic. I'm just going to squeeze it right on into the food processor. It's just going to make a beautiful addition to this poblano cream sauce. I'm in love with this stuff. Originally, I wanted to make it for pasta, and I didn't get around to it. So I thought I would make it this week because I had all the stuff and put it on some enchiladas, which was also incredible. But now I cannot wait to put it on pasta because now I know it's going to be absolutely amazing. So I put all that stuff in there, and I'm going to add some cilantro to this as well. Fresh cilantro. It just kind of brightens it up a little bit. Everything is like really deep and rich now because we roasted it, but that cilantro is going to really bring some life into it. Don't worry if you don't like cilantro, you don't have to put anything in, or you could put some parsley in, totally up to you. And then I put a little bit of salt because I think salt just helps. And then I just pulverized it in my food processor. You can let this go as long as you want. I've mentioned before, I do like kind of like a rustic sauce. I like a bit of chunk to mine. So you can choose the texture that you like. It is pretty thick, and I was really pleased about that. So I put it in my skillet and heated it up, and then added in about a cup of heavy cream because I'm making a decent amount of this. One, I'm going to top the enchiladas, and two, I just wanted a little bit of extra sauce to have on hand to kind of decide what else I wanted to put it on. It turns out we wanted to put it on tortilla chips and eat it like a dip, and that was also really good. This could probably be a really great base for queso now that I think about it. Oh, that might happen soon enough too. Sounds really good. Anyway, I just kept stirring. Heavy cream will thicken as you cook it, and this sauce did thicken just beautifully, and everything incorporated really well. I was only heating it up just to kind of mix everybody together. But once that was done, it is time to make some enchiladas. I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but we really like enchiladas in my house. So I decided pulled pork was obviously perfect for enchiladas. So I'm just gonna, I've shown you guys how to do this before. I've like pan fried the corn tortillas for like 10 seconds. I'm gonna put some shredded pork in there. I'm gonna put a little bit of that sauce in there and I'm gonna roll them up. I'm not putting cheese inside of these. I'm only going to top them with cheese because we have this thickened cream sauce. So I just felt like that would do the trick. I also always spray my pan so it's non-stick, and I put some of the sauce on the bottom too. It just really helps. I'm just going to roll each and every one of these guys up, put a little sauce in there. Then we're going to top it with sauce. We're going to top it with, get this pepper jack cheese. Oh, that was such a good addition. So good. And then we're going to bake it at 350 for like 30 minutes. It'll get all beautiful and bubbly and delicious and fantastic in 30 minutes. Then you have to let it set so the cheese doesn't just ooze out everywhere. But after it sets for like 20 minutes, you're good to go and you've got a beautiful, beautiful dinner. I served it with some sauteed zucchini. Salad would be great. Of course, rice and beans are always fantastic. I want to take a minute while I'm still making these enchiladas on screen to also tell you guys I didn't film it, but I also made breakfast burritos with this pork almost every single day. So this pulled pork mixed with some potato and eggs and onions is wonderful. Like, it's a whole nother level of breakfast burrito. I thought the brisket was good, and it was. Don't get me wrong. It was fantastic. But this pulled pork is definitely a close second. It's good because it's different from your other breakfast meats. It's not as salty, but it brings like a lot of richness to your egg mix. Really, really enjoyed that. So if you haven't tried it and you smoke a pulled pork, try it with some eggs. Really, really good. But there's our enchiladas fresh from the oven. See, it's still bubbling and delicious. Oh man, these were so good. Of course, if you want more heat, toss in a jalapeno. I did like, I think 4 poblanos, but you could always toss in jalapenos too. This is what I did. This was kind of the sauce I had been like thinking about for a couple of months for something else. All right, so it's another night and it's another dinner. We're going to make gnocchi. We're going to make gorgonzola gnocchi. I'm going to make mine just gorgonzola gnocchi, and my husband's going to have it with some of this pulled pork. You guys know I eat meat. I'm not a vegetarian, but I can leave it pretty easily and just go vegetarian for a couple of nights every week, and it makes me perfectly happy. And I was about done with meat for the week, so I just had just the gnocchi, and it hit the spot. So I roasted a head of garlic, and I put about half of it in this skillet with some oil, and then I toasted these breadcrumbs in there. Gnocchi is really soft. It's like a potato pasta dumpling kind of thing. So I knew I wanted some texture in this dish, and I decided that crunchy breadcrumb topping would be perfect. So once those were toasted, I set them off to the side, put a little bit oil back in my skillet, added some more of that roasted garlic. You can see it's soft. I'm just mashing it with the back of my spatula there just to kind of like mix it into the oil a little bit more. Now I'm going to add in some heavy cream. That was the last of that container. I have to go open another one, but in total I did about a cup of cream, maybe 3/4 of a cup. But I think I went the full cup. I didn't measure it, but it seemed like I went the full cup. And then we're going to add in some gorgonzola cheese. This is a gorgonzola gnocchi. So the recipes that I looked at for a gorgonzola sauce all said 4 ounces of gorgonzola. I have no problem with that personally. I love gorgonzola cheese. I love any kind of blue cheese. My husband, not so much. So I knew that I wanted to be cautious with how much I used. So I probably only used 2.5 ounces of gorgonzola cheese in this because I didn't want to go too heavy. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to overpower the dish and he would still eat it. And he absolutely loved the sauce. I also put a little bit of salt and pepper in here as well, and a handful of Parmesan cheese just to kind of round out the flavors. And I got to tell you, for like a minute, I was really thinking about some lemon juice because this was a really rich sauce. It was so good, but it was so rich. I didn't add the lemon juice, but it certainly wouldn't hurt because, like I said, very rich. That bright freshness might have, like, I don't know, lightened it up a little bit, but it was so good. It was so good. But you definitely cannot eat very much because it is super rich. So I had some gnocchi boiling in a pan a pot next to this. I just get the Dollar Tree gnocchi. Like, it's $1.25. It's good. It works. One day I'm going to make my own. It is on my goals list. Homemade pasta is on my goals list. Like, it's something I'm going to do, and I'm hopefully going to do it soon. But for today, it's just Dollar Tree gnocchi. I boiled it till they were floating. It only takes a few minutes. It's very quick. And then I tossed it in here and just let it simmer in this beautiful cream sauce for a few minutes, which had thickened up. Oh man, this was so good. This was so good. I've been wanting to try a gorgonzola sauce forever, and I finally got to not too long ago. So now I'm making it at home. It's amazing. I topped it with parsley and breadcrumbs, and I served a kale salad. And there's my husband's with the shredded pork on the side. He mixed it in. He loved it. It was so good. But those are the meals this week. I used my leftovers. We cooked our ribs, we cooked our pulled pork, and used them all throughout the week. It was fantastic. We had some really good meals, and I got to kind of play around with some different recipes. Like, I love getting in the kitchen, getting creative, and making new things or making things up. Like, it is my happy place, and I loved getting to do it this week. I hope you guys enjoy these recipes, and I hope you try some of them. Again, pulled pork is really interchangeable, so you could always use like ground beef or something similar for most of these recipes. Even ground chicken or shredded chicken would work for a lot of these. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you're going to try these, or if you've tried anything similar, or if you have a recipe you think I might like. Let me know. I'm always interested in checking out new recipes. Anyway, friends, thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, and commenting, and I will see y'all soon. Have a great week.